Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to import your classes into NetSuite. So it's important to remember that classes, departments, and locations are all going to be imported the same way. I'm not going to go over each individual segment, but it's more or less the same process. Okay, so we have on this in Excel the class list that we exported from QuickBooks. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly remove all those extra columns, and then I'm going to do a simple modification from showing from our QuickBooks class and then our new NetSuite class structure. So I'm going to have everything be the same, except I'm going to add one additional parent, and so I'm going to call that parent G&A. And I'm going to assign admin and finance to that parent. So it's important for all these segments that the parent value must exist in order to assign a child to that parent. So you're going to need to create the parent record first, and then the child, and then the grandchild as far down the line as you want to go. If you have less than 5 values, like five parents, I would recommend just using the user interface and just manually keying it in, and then you can grab the internal ID. That'll be probably faster. In the video, I'm going to show you how to import this just so you can see how I would recommend setting that up. But again, if you have less than 5 parents, I would just go ahead and manually create them in the user interface. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this tab to be my mapping so that I can see that this QuickBooks class is going to be mapped to this NetSuite class. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and add a parent department and a child department tab. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab these 2 columns. In the parent, I'm going to just include my parent record, and then in the child, I will go ahead and delete the parent, and then we'll update this in just a second. Okay, so then we're going to export this to a separate sheet, and then we're going to go into NetSuite, and we're going to go to Setup, Import CSV Records, class, set the name, and we're going to take away the class. And then the other thing we want to add is we're going to set the subsidiary and then the include children. So I'm going to set, because I want this departments to be used across all my subsidiaries, I'll set it to the parent subsidiary, and I'm going to set this include children to be yes. And we'll click next, and then we'll do run. See that it was successfully loaded, so we'll go over to our class list, and there you go. We can see that we have our parent customer, our parent class, and we've got the internal ID. So I'm going to grab that 5. I'm going to go over to my child, and I'm going to replace the 5 there with the G&A with the 5, and then we're going to do the exact same thing again. Make a copy. Go back to our import template. And we will upload the records. The name. Now we've got the parents, so we're going to map that to the internal ID. And then we'll do the same thing with the subsidiary and the include children. And we can see that all 4 of our records loaded. So we'll go over to our class list. And so now we can see that our admin and finance classes are rolling up into the G&A class parent. And so the last thing I want to point out, and I highly recommend that if you're going to do parent-child relationships, to actually make the parent an inactive record so that you can't post to that record. One thing to keep in mind is you'll need to keep the parents active until you're done assigning all of the children to that record, because the parent needs to be active in order to assign a child to it. So what I would recommend is once you've loaded all of your classes or your departments or locations, what you'll do is check this Show Inactives box, and then you can simply check the box on the G&A and then click Submit, and then that will deactivate the parent. Okay, so that is how you would import classes into NetSuite. Again, it's basically the same process for departments and locations as well. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next class.